Here is the professor on Nvidia. We saw, I didn't see this yesterday, but this was posted yesterday. So let's take a little bit of a preview of what he thinks is going on with Nvidia and why he thinks Nvidia potentially is not going to have the best earnings.
The Dean of Valuation, Aswath Damodaran of NYU Stern School of Business, is here with us at Post 9. It's great to have you here in person.
Great to be back.
So when you think about Nvidia, the stock really hasn't traded well into the print, which is unusual in and of itself. But how do you see it today?
No, in September, when they came out with that bad earnings report, I valued them about $90 before the election, before the market downturn. And they were trading at 108. Today, they're trading at 128. So in terms of perspective, even with the beating they've taken in the last few weeks, the stock is still $20 higher than it was in September of 2024. So I think that at that time I said the stock is a great company, but I don't see how you can get to $120, $130 per share.
Still?
No, I think that's still what I said then will still hold. They don't have the capacity in terms of generating earnings and cash flows to sustain a $3 trillion market cap. So I think that still stands. And I think as the earnings report comes out tomorrow, my expectation is going to be a lot like September, a replay of September, where they will beat analyst expectations, but the market's going to be disappointed because the market seems to have set expectations higher than what analysts are seeing for the company.
They would say, I mean, Professor, have you seen the CapEx numbers of these hyperscalers, what they say they're going to spend? And a large part of that, if not the majority, is going to go to us. Yeah. And we know that it is. And you pay a little bit more for future growth, like we're going to give you where you can't get anywhere else.
Now, if you back out from the market cap, what their break even has to be in terms of revenues, it's about $500 billion in revenues. So even if you bring in all of the spending by Meta and Microsoft, that still gets you to maybe $300 billion, $350 billion. The market is actually building in a surplus over and above that of other people coming into the game and spending immense amounts. So this is not a question of, people are spending more than expected. That CapEx spending was already there in September. It scaled up. With DeepSeek, the question is, are there other people who might have entered the game who are not going to enter the game now because their response is, I don't need those Nvidia chips. For what I'm doing, I can get there with much cheaper chips.
You think that's a new risk? Have you been thinking about it differently since the DeepSeek day?
No, in fact, I revalued it right after the DeepSeek.
You did? You think it's that profound of a change?
My value dropped by about $10 because in my view, what it does is it reduces the total size of the segment of the AI market that needs high-powered chips and immense amounts of data. Because whether DeepSeek is a fake or whether it's going to pass by, what it opened people's eyes to, not all AI products and services need these incredibly powerful chips and huge amounts of data and huge data centers that you can get there with much cheaper devices. And I think for many companies, when they look at the AI products and services they have to develop, they don't need this high-powered stuff. They don't need to spend the tens of billions of dollars up front. So I think that's the real worry you have to have as an NVIDIA investor, is whether those people will now hold back and buy cheaper chips and build cheaper centers.
Did you, at the same time...
How many people agree? How many people agree? I disagree for this one reason, and that's Arnie's comment in the chat. My value dropped $10 after DeepSeek. I don't think DeepSeek is necessarily the linchpin that destroys NVIDIA's demand. So that's kind of my main reason I disagree. Again, this guy's been a bit bearish in NVIDIA for a while. He's owned it for a long time. I think he sold 50% of his stake 8 months ago. I just don't think DeepSeek is the reason why NVIDIA deserves to be back at $90.
While downgrading, for lack of a better word, NVIDIA, did you upgrade something else?
Not yet, because I think what this is going to do is it's going to commoditize the product and service business. The AI product, we're all going to see more AI stuff because it's going to be cheaper and easier to deliver it. But I'm not sure any of us is going to be willing to pay for most of this stuff, because I look at the AI stuff that I'm being offered as a consumer, and my reaction, it's neat, it's cute, but I'm not paying $5 a month or $10 a month. It's different, I think, in the business AI segment. That's where the NVIDIA chips and the big data will continue to prosper. I don't see anybody benefiting from the commoditizing of the rest of the AI business, because it's going to be free stuff that everybody gets and nobody's able to make money off.
So look, his point comes down to AI is not going to have a real ROI, definitely not for the consumer, maybe for the businesses. And as a result, NVIDIA's chips are not going to be that high in demand. I think that is a mainstream perspective from NVIDIA bears that I can understand. people having. I don't think that's going to be how the story plays out. And here's one way to explain why I don't think that's how the story plays out. Take a look at this. This is a full-on flight simulator that was coded in Cursor AI, which is an AI coding assistant. The person said, I've never made a game before, and I just made my own flight simulator 100% with Cursor, I'd say in 3 hours, by just telling it what I wanted. It didn't go 100% smooth, but 80% yes. A few times I had to go back to previous versions and keep asking the same thing, but I love this AI vibe coding. It can be very fun, and this whole flight simulation is in one HTML file. This is going to be like children's play in the next 5 years, given where AI is going. And so the reason I'm saying, he says there's no consumer use case. And like right now, yes, like the main consumer use cases, you pay for GPT, Grok, or whatever. But I think the use cases are just getting started. Obviously, there's a lot more business use cases, and Palantir has shown many case studies on how they're accelerating growth because of demand for AI-enabled operating systems. But if you can code up an entire flight simulator in 3 hours, like I can only imagine the types of ideas people have over the coming years, at least over the coming decade, for people to use AI in a more productive way. And all of this at the end of the day will depend still on those GPUs. Even if it's not going to be 1000% Nvidia's market, because there's going to be margins that get competed away. You're going to get Amazon and Google, and they're going to have their own chips and all this stuff. But it does not mean that the market is fake or that the market is not real. And I think what Aswath is saying essentially in his valuation model is that this is a market that is unsustainably elevated. He thinks that there's no way you can get to a $3 trillion market cap on Nvidia. And I don't know. I disagree with that. I think there's going to be enough growth to end up justifying it. So yeah, dude, anything's going to be possible. I mean, forget the AI assistants that everyone thinks is going to like. There's going to be, this thing is going to be on steroids. It's going to be on a level that I don't think any of us have seen before. I've been using Grok 3 a lot. I'm working on a side project right now, and it does involve some coding. And so I've been using Grok 3 to kind of just like conceptually talk about the thing that I'm trying to build, and then also more materially understand like the variables and algorithms that are needed to effectively build it. And it's just, dude, it's one of the, it is like I don't think if we went back to like 1990 and told someone what a computer would be able to do when the computers were first getting started, like the World Wide Web was such a big deal. And now it's like this thing that just does everything for you and can understand natural language. It is incredible. It's incredible. And I think the hype is real on Grok 3. I mean, I was talking about it on Monday, but like, I really do think Grok 3 is better than GPT and a lot of the other models. It's only going to get better and better and better. So to me, if it needs to get better, it needs more NVIDIA chips. I think the thesis on that is very simple. AMD, I do think is undervalued here, but I don't think AMD is the winner in the next 5 years when it comes to the chip race. So I think NVIDIA is the answer. But today's earnings is going to be important to see how this ends up playing out. I haven't used 3.7 yet on Claude. I haven't used Claude yet. I used Claude actually when I was in California. I was playing with Claude, but I was using the version right before 3.7. So I have to check out the new one.